Hey folks, Lyarri here. Today we're reacting to Do All Trans Teens Think the Same? Spectrum by Jubilee. I'm excited for this video because I'm trans, not a teen though, but I want to know what they think and how my opinions or experiences differ. It'll be exciting. Let's go.
Strongly agree. Strongly
This
disagree.
intro is a little loud.
Somewhat disagree.
I would agree.
Disagree.
I hate that every week I have to inject my hormones. I get so
A little less
angry
loud.
that cis people get it
And yes,
for
this
free.
is very true.
And, it's just natural.
Yeah, you got it in your body, I got it in a drawer.
It's annoying to inject something. Not fun. Oh man, that was really loud.
A cisgendered individual.
I would.
3, 2,
I mean,
1.
yeah.
I've dated cis people in the past, and every time, especially because I'm a cis female at birth and non-binary, if I'm dating a man, he typically just sees me as a woman. I saw a TikTok literally yesterday. It was have y'all ever been with a they them woman? I was that is so no. If you can't see me as non-binary, I cannot be seen outside with you. With women that are cis, it's more welcoming, but people they perceive us as a lesbian couple, and that's not really what I'm trying to do.
At my age, boys kind of come into themselves and their desires, and it's just weird because they either want one thing or another thing, and usually I'm subject to be fetishized. Some guys will come at me and be yeah, you're the best of both worlds. And I'm girl, this is not Hannah Montana. I am a girl. I want to have my own little moment where I could just get my own Prince Charming and stuff like that, and just have a normal, relationship like the rest of these cis girls.
For me, I've normally only dated cis.
Yeah, sorry, very quickly. Their experiences are super true. I feel it can be very difficult to find someone, if you're trans, who's cisgender and understands, or at least can dance around your how you feel about certain things. And I feel I don't know, it very much depends on the person. And I feel when a lot these folks are teenagers, and when you're a teenager and you're in school and stuff, it's harder to be with folks who are generally more understanding. It's I have some cisgender friends who are amazing and incredible, and they make me feel like a woman, they see me as a woman, etc. And it's really fun. Anyways, let's continue.
Girls, I've been fetishized probably a couple of times. They say, oh yeah, I'm bi, and then they see me as a girl or something, and it's so bizarre. But I've only recently ever dated someone who's not cis, and they identify as non-binary, and that relationship taught me so much because I feel they really saw me for who I am, and they were the most aware person.
I've only been with one cis person, and it was a girl, and I feel if anything, girls are super understanding, but I'm still open to a cis person.
Sorry, I just very quickly, I'm a lesbian, I date women. So I feel I'm a little lucky here, just because women in general tend to, they're saying, be more understanding.
It depends on the person, really. I'm not looking for a trans person, I'm just looking for a good person.
Yeah.
You should be able to medically transition before adulthood. 3, 2, 1.
A lot of us, we have realized that this is what's best for us, as kids. And it's all about your mental health and well-being. But also, that being said, I think it's also important that this is what you really want, because it's going to be a life-changing decision. And behind that, there should be a lot of evaluations and a lot of affirmations.
That's basically what I was gonna say. It's it depends where you're at. You have to be at a certain place and make sure you're really ready. But I do think it would help so many trans kids' mental health if they were able to transition before 18.
I'm dying to get on hormones, and I do agree that kids should be able to get hormones and go through HRT. But there's also a little part of me that's what if they end up changing their mind?
When I was 13, I thought I was a trans man, and then I was nah. And then I was wait. So it was for me, it was just a lot of questioning and going through different identities until I found what felt right. And at the point I'm at right now, I don't even know if I want to go on like HRT. So if I would have went on that when I was like 13, I don't know. I don't think I would have regretted it, but it was like I'm glad that I like internalized a lot of it and like went through it within myself.
I think as so long as we educate children on like the risk on transitioning very young, like medically transitioning very young, and they're educated on the process, I think children should be able to choose whether or not they want to transition young.
Okay, so I have an relatively strong opinion here. I would be strongly agree, but I will say, like, sorry, I like no one under the age of like 12 or whatever is like getting on HRT. They're getting on puberty blockers, which is like a very important thing to like have access to because it allows kids to make that time to make that decision and to like maybe try experimenting socially, transitioning and stuff like that. And also like um even besides like access to puberty blockers at a young age, I think when you're and I don't completely know like the medical like side of this for when you start HRT itself because I started it when I was older and I didn't really need to concern myself with that. But like assuming that like you're not at risk of anything as a result of like starting hormone therapy, I don't see why like especially once you're like 14 or 16 and like it's really time to like get started with a puberty. Why it wouldn't be a bad thing to take like a sorry, hormones and stuff. Especially if you've like been on puberty blockers for a few years and really thought it out. I do think like the biggest like thing about puberty blockers to me are like kids in teenage years pick on each other a lot. So like if you're like smaller and less developed than someone else, like that kind of sucks. But like the alternative sucks more, and also like societies should change. But yeah, let's continue.
My teachers are accepting of my pronouns. Three, two, one.
I went to UCI for a quarter and they were very understanding and like they don't really like ask questions. But in high school, it was definitely a struggle because like my name was a different name on the roster and then like I would have to explain. Especially like my Spanish teacher, she had like such like Catholic beliefs and like she would pull me aside and like ask questions and it was really sweet of her to like try to understand, but it was also hard for them to like remember like in class and stuff like that. So it was kind of a struggle.
I'm honestly really
Sorry, like when you have like a ton of kids, like I do understand the plight of like teachers in particular. Like I had some in I wasn't out in high school or I didn't even realize what I like that I was a woman in high school or really in college either. But like what I noticed like I was friends with I was friends with trans folk. And so like there's definitely teachers who are like able to do it and like I applaud them like they're incredible teachers. And so like I had teachers who would like genuinely like know like multiple kids on like a personal level and help them with like coping with their day because they had like genuinely traumatic situations at home and at school and just like were in really awful situations and to have like the bandwidth, like the mental bandwidth and the emotional bandwidth to like care about all your kids, do all your work and be a good teacher and also care about your own kids outside of like school, like that shit's crazy. Like damn. Sorry.
thankful that they really did try to find a way to like make trans people feel a bit more comfortable in the school. Like right now I'm taking like a ballet and Pilates class and I totally thought it was gonna be, oh, but you were like born male so you have to do like masculine presenting stuff, which I was like really afraid of, but I'm so glad that they're like really accepting.
I go to UC Berkeley right now, and I get misgendered there like on a daily basis. Like I will introduce myself to the teacher, and I'll be like, "I go by they them pronouns. By the way, I'm non-binary. Like, please respect my pronouns." And like within 2 times like that I'm in the classroom, they'll go back to using she/her pronouns, and like other classmates will also misgender me, and it gets just really mentally taxing at a point. And so I kind of just like stop trying as much, because like it's just mentally exhausting having to realize like no one sees you as non-binary because you still have like feminine qualities about yourself.
They them folks have it so fucking bad. Like the amount of like I have a number of they them friends and like the amount of folks who just never get like gendered properly is insane. Like I'm very fortunate. I'm like feminine presenting, she her pronouns, etc., etc. So like I have it relatively easy. But my they them friends struggle with this so fucking much, especially when like there are days where like they feel more like in tune with like a feminine persona or a masculine persona or just they're themselves. I don't I'm not always the best with this. But besides that, like also the folks who like have like they them and she her and he him pronouns or like they them and she her or they them and she and he she and he him or any other variation. I'm not really using neo pronouns here. But like the amount of people who just never use them is very high. And like I think like that's one of like those little things where like, if you have like a trans friend, just like using all their pronouns and like acknowledging them by how they're presenting and stuff can be really cool. I don't know.
I have come out more than once. Three, two, one.
There's ways to like
I've
take
come
this
out
question.
multiple times, like not just like for my like trans experience, but for like my sexuality as well.
Yeah.
Because I came out as like pansexual, then I came out as bi, and then I was just came out as non-binary before I came out as trans. I'm like, oh my god, like how many? When am I gonna get it right, y'all? Like,
Yeah, same.
I love Gibby.
I went through like 4 or 5 different sexualities, and then I was like, wait. And then I just feel like presenting more androgynous. It is this struggle of like coming out every day and being like, hey, like I know I look this way, but this is like what I am. This is how I feel, and like you can respect it or not. Like honestly, it's just. I feel like it's gonna be forever.
I kind of feel like I have to come out like every single day, just like with new people I meet in my life. Like I'm constantly having to be like, oh yeah, my name's Mandy, I'm non-binary, I go by they, them pronouns, please respect those pronouns, or this is not like a safe space for me.
I get the like telling people on like a daily basis, like anyone you meet, like I want people to know immediately that I'm trans because I don't want to bring it up later on and have it be an issue with them. I feel like I only came out once because after the first time I kind of made it visible and I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to have to come out again. And I thankfully had very supportive people in my life that like I could have came out to again, but I felt a lot more comfortable just kind of like living my life and having people just like accept what I'm doing with my life without, you know, coming out again.
Cisgender individuals do not understand my struggle.
Okay, before anyone answers this, I mean, cisgender people tell me they don't understand my struggles. So I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna agree here. At least to some degree.
Two, one.
Personally, my friends try to empathize, and I
Yeah.
really appreciate that.
This
for
is the
them.
cool thing.
But
Sorry.
personally, I think that cis people take for granted, you know, their gender euphoria. Getting ready in the morning and looking at yourself and having the absence of distress. Like when I get up and I get ready and I look at myself physically, like I'm distressed. Like I don't look like the person I was just dreaming I was, you know?
Like I've
And like I think like right, you can equate like not being happy with your appearance to that feeling. But like I feel like there are outside of like it is incredibly difficult to like oh my god, sorry, this is so hard to like put into words. But like it's like really hard to get ready in the morning and especially like for me like before I realized that I realized how I like presenting myself, like it was always a struggle to like do personal like basic hygiene stuff and to get ready in the morning and to care about my clothing because no matter what I put on it felt like I was awful or like I looked bad and like I was lucky. I was like genuinely attractive even more attractive if I actually took care of myself. But like, you know, that the basics were there. And like I feel like yeah, I don't know. The fact that like now I have like a clear set list of things I can do in the morning that I know will make me happy. It's so cool. Yeah. I hope people find that generally.
known people that were cis and then would kind of be like transphobic towards me, and then after a few years they start transitioning and they're like, oh, I understand now. And like it wasn't until they were going through it and really felt the pain of it that they were able to understand.
It's a lot. Sorry, I'm pausing a lot here because like I have so much to say about it. Like the transitioning and like the feeling of just like having your hormones like shift over and having a hormonal imbalance, and then like I was relatively fortunate in that like it didn't require much like messing with the dosage and stuff. Like there was a little bit of stuff that I had to do, but not too much. Whereas like some folks, like it takes them over a year to get to the right like hormone balance. And like hormones affect everything. Like it's a lot to deal with. It's literally like a second puberty is a common term people use. It's crazy.
Try to think of just like the whole entire spectrum of just like cis people who are like identifying female, but for some reason their bodies present more masculine. I feel like they can have that sort of point of view that can help them sympathize and empathize for you more. It's all about like the spectrum and just how there's just so many nuances.
Okay, that's a great answer. I love Ivy. That's actually like that's a better take than my take. Like respect.
Life would be easier if I wasn't trans. 3, 2.
A pretty easy dub, but like yeah. Unfortunately.
My whole thing is like, I'm already like a person of color. If I wasn't non-binary, I'd be a woman. So like life is not going to be easy for me. And I just feel like that it wouldn't be the same, but it wouldn't be necessarily easier.
I mean, I agree with what
That's
you're
fair.
saying about being a person of color and being queer, but you know, like I've been through so much horrible shit, and like personally, like my life would be easier if I was cis. I mean, a defining part of who I am is definitely being trans, but every day I do wonder, you know, what if I was actually born a cis like female, you know?
Yeah, I hate that I still think a lot of the time, like, I wonder what life would be like if I was cis, or I kind of wish I was cis. Like I know I wouldn't be where I am, and I wouldn't know almost anyone in my life if I wasn't trans, and if I didn't go through the struggles I went through. I hate that every week I have to like inject my hormones. Like I get so angry that like cis people get it for free, and like it's just natural.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, and there's times where my insurance is being like annoying, and I can't get my
like
hormones.
you got it in your body, like I got it in a drawer.
Yeah, like it's really, really hard and like breaks me down, but I know that I wouldn't be who I am if I wasn't trans.
Yeah, just like bouncing off that, just the thought of like waking up and not having dysphoria about something, and like not trying on like 15 different shirts because my chest doesn't look flat enough, or like just stuff like that. I think it would genuinely make my life easier. But again, it's like I wouldn't meet the people that I have in my life, and I'm so grateful for them.
Yeah, like you can be thankful for the journey you have, while still acknowledging that like there were parts of it that life may have been better without him. Even if they helped a lot greatly contribute to who you are today. I think like for me, I like to imagine that even if I wasn't trans, I would still like have found a way to have character growth. And but like also I feel like it helps to cope in the situation you're in if it feels like you're only as cool as you are today because of the things you've gone through. And like I think that can also be genuinely very true. Um I don't know. It's people's journeys are different, and it's interesting to compare and contrast. Part of why I love these videos. Anyways, let's continue. Oh. I really like this. They were so nice. Aww. I love Ivy so much.
I'm proud to be a citizen of my country. I'm proud to be an American.
What's happening? Uh-oh. Okay, I accidentally started the video. My bad. That was really good. I like that a lot. They actually had like pretty solid questions, I think. Like, at least in terms of starting conversation. Like, I don't think, like, some of them were a little basic. Like, obviously they're all gonna agree, but they started a good conversation. Also, Ivy is literally so gentle-hearted. I hope she's able to get HRT like she wanted. Yes, Ivy's so cool. They should have asked if they would date a trans individual. I find that in the trans community, that's sometimes super controversial. Like, you're either strictly T for T or repulsed by fellow trans people at all. It's such a heated debate. I think, like, to be fair, like, you can activate your own dysphoria by being with a fellow trans person, I think, is, like, often that kind of dilemma. Oh, okay. Genuine Q, why would trans people be repulsed by other trans people? Oh, yeah, and I mean, perhaps not repulsed, but no attraction. For example, I'm a straight trans guy, but I only like cis. I mean, I think it's fair to have genital preferences. Yeah, okay, here, this is good. Maybe repulsion wasn't the best word, but a lot of trans people don't want to date other trans people because of their dysphoria. I know a trans woman who wanted to date another trans woman but kept getting dysphoria. Yeah, like that, I relate to that. I think like I've been able to work past it a little bit to a degree, but nowhere near what I would like to. Yeah. Would have loved to hear about how the family supported them or didn't support them and how it affected their relationships, people who knew them before, during, after, etc. That's true. Like, fun part of the not fun. One of the parts of the conversation that has a lot to talk about might have been a little emotional to deal with. Not sure if this was intentional, but because of Fluidity Act, but Bree and Gabby both had their pronouns switched throughout the video, just saying it because I haven't seen it in a few top few comments. I thought I saw I try not to pronoun them too much because like I'm really bad at talking while also noticing the pronouns on the screen, which is probably not the best. Probably could have been nicer to my fellow trans folk, but yeah. I want to say I also noticed that, and as a result, that made me want to stop. But was wondering when Jubilee would make another Spectrum video. I've missed them. Also, can you do all children or people with divorced parents think the same? This is a really cool one. I wish these children nothing but peace, love, and happiness for the rest of their lives. Same. I could listen to Ivy speak all day. Her voice is very calming for my chaotic mind. Same. I don't think it should just be about educating kids on all the procedures of transitioning. I think it should include taking the kid to therapy to make sure they are definitely trans, and then talking to them about transitioning if it's really necessary. Like, can't wait till adulthood affecting the child's health necessary. So two like major things here. Number one, you already like have to go to therapy to like. I mean, I don't think you literally have to go to therapy to get on hormones, but it's like I mean, at least for me, it was heavily pushed to me. And then also like to do the surgery is like you kind of need some sort of like mental health person that you see. Of course, not all folks do the surgeries, but like there are like stop stop gate stop gates. What's the word? Gate. I don't know. The stop gaps in place. That's what I'll say, even though I don't think it's the right word. And also, like, a lot, like, the definition of, like, being transgender and, like, it affects your health. Like, it's very silly to me. Like, when you start talking to a transgender person, you're like, hey, can't this just wait till adulthood? Are you really feeling that bad? It's such, like, an unfair question. Like, you can probably assume. I don't think that's a necessary conversation to have. I'm sure they would rather not go through it in general. Like, at least when you're living in the moment and like being actively like pushed back against, like you'd rather just not have to deal with this at all. So the fact that you're continuing to like, sorry, it's just such a silly. I don't like this. Do all trans kids think the same? Yes, apparently. I think we need more controversial topics as prompts. That's fair. Like, these were very safe. Like, I liked it because I'm trans and I get to pick up off of it and like talk about it, and like literally all of this is like, yeah, I guess every opinion question was like literally, yeah, we all think the same here. It's funny. I want to see, do all parents of transgender kids think the same? God, that sounds awful. Sorry. I'm sure it's great for clickbait. I'd watch it. Alright. Wanted to repost what Baco Jernigan said here in the comments. I suppose I would explain it like this. You don't feel your gender unless something's wrong, just as you won't feel yourself breathing unless your air passages are blocked. I mean, I think you can still feel your gender. Like, when you're... Right, like if you're a masculine dude and you go to the gym and you're happy looking in the mirror about your muscles, you're getting fucking gender euphoria. Like, you can feel your gender. It might not be obvious to you as, like, feeling your gender. And I'm sure that wasn't the point. Like, I'm sure that... Yeah, like they're more talking about why like cisgender people can't really understand the trans experience in some ways and stuff like that. Like having the sense of not of there's something not being right gives you the ability to detect that better is I think what the comment's saying overall. But like yeah, like I think like for example, like extreme weightlifters often have body dysmorphia and stuff. And things like that can give you an idea what the trans experience is like, even if it's not one to one. All right. I don't I don't think all my takes here were like incredibly well detailed and like explained, but hopefully they were okay. Thank you so much for watching, folks. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye. Hey folks, thank you so much for watching. Remember to like the video, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Twitch, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.